Hello, welcome everybody to another live Q&A office hour and strategy session. We have a special guest with us today, Stephanie Hofhenke. Stephanie, you want to say hello while I check our technology here?
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you again, Jeannie. I'm always excited to be here and to share with your audience.
Yeah, terrific. It's so good to have you. Okay, great. I just wanted to check the audio. Perfect. We're good. If you guys are you seeing me look to the side here, I have my iPad set up. This is just one of those tech tricks. I use StreamYard because we are streaming into Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube today. So that is the benefit of StreamYard. The downside is that you can't see who's commenting all the time. And I really do like to connect with those who are joining us, like Jen. Hi, Jen. Welcome. Great. So today is going to be chock full. For those of you who have joined Q&A office hour and strategy sessions before, you know that often we bring in an expert in an area of interest to you, my community. And today, Stephanie, you've been on a number of times, so you get it. Like, you know what our community is looking for. And additionally, you work very closely, not only with members of our community, but health and wellness in general, correct?
Yes. Yep. Private practice for sure.
Oh, good. Antonella, welcome. So good to see you here. Hi, Stacy. So why don't we just get started with introducing yourself, Stephanie, who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. So let's start with who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Stephanie Hofhenke. I founded String Marketing 12 years ago. We are a full service marketing agency that focuses on private practitioners that are in the nutrition space. And we do everything from strategy to execution. And so I have a full team of dedicated experts in their own fields: content writing, brand strategy, marketing strategy. And then we also do a lot of support. So we are a long-term partner for business growth for anybody who's looking to level up.
Terrific. And your company is String Marketing. For anybody who would have to jump off early, just can go to, I actually just posted this, stringmarketing.com is where you go to find out more information, not only about Stephanie and her team, but how specifically Stephanie and her team are supporting Living Plate RX Prime members, our really powerful community of over 3,500 health and wellness professionals. So super excited to have you here. So today we are going to be kicking off the conversation with building trust. Now, Stephanie did prepare some great slides to guide the conversation. So Stephanie, I am going to share those now. So now you can advance the slides. And for all of you joining us, oh, Jill, welcome. Oh, wait, so hold up one second. This is great. I love it. We have somebody is saying, it's actually Jill is saying, two of my favorite people today. Great. Hi, good to see you, Jill. That's terrific. Thank you for commenting. All right. So let's get started with building trust. If you could cover that for our guests today.
What I'm going to talk about today is building trust online. And this is a big, big topic. There's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to go through today, some overall concepts that we're going to go through. And in the future, I hope to be able to dig into these concepts deeper. So please comment on the things that are relevant to you that you're wanting to know more about or explore more. And we'll be putting more and more of this kind of content out for you.
For sure.
But I'm going to do an overview of how we approach strategies when it comes to building trust online for you and why this is important. There's some obvious things: shortening your sales cycle, having people know and understand you a little bit more, and creating that emotional connection up front can create a shorter sales cycle for you.
Can you just explain what that? I mean, I know what shortening the sales cycle is. I think most people understand, but I don't want to assume anything. So when you say shorten your sales cycle, what does that mean?
Yeah, so shortening your sales cycle means that when people come to you, they are in a different place, and you're not having to do all of the work on the phone to convert them into a client. So it's a part, we'll go through exactly what all that means. But yeah, you want to shorten your sales cycle so that the amount of time that you're spending in your sales process is at a minimum, and you're getting the highest value clients. That's another benefit of building that trust online. And then increasing referrals. Increasing referrals is not only from the referrals that you're getting, converting them into clients, but giving your clients the confidence to send somebody to you and knowing that when they hit your website, they're going to fully understand, because people sending referrals don't always know how to explain what you do and the benefits. They just know the outcomes and they're just like, go check it out. And you want your website then to convert them, build that trust. And then we also have to remember consumers are jaded. I was at a marketing conference recently and the keynote right off the bat says marketers ruin everything. And unfortunately, we do.
Yes.
There's a lot of things being exploited and in the marketing world. And we want to be the honest voices out there. We want to be true representations. And we want to give the consumer some confidence as they're going through the process with you. So it's really important to focus on trust, and there's specific ways that we go through and do that. So the way in which we first start our strategies is we dive into these 3 buckets. So first, your consumer perspectives. This is your who. Getting down not just to the demographics of where they are, how old they are, what their problem is. We want to actually dig into what keeps them up at night. What is really troubling them? We want to meet them where they're at, and we want language that hits that. And then in the middle there, the business objectives. This is your why. Why are you so passionate about doing it? Yes, we know that you have great education and you have excellent credentials, but why? Why are you wanting to reach that particular consumer audience? Why are you passionate about that? And this is where it comes out your relevancy. Relevancy is where you are really that start of that trust, is that you're saying, I see you, I understand you, and you're in the right place, right?
Can you pause for 1 second? Only because I want to just spend a little bit of time on the consumer perspectives, because this does include niching down, correct? And you and I were talking about this a little bit before we went live, that you can't speak to everybody as much as we want to help everybody. And I think like at our core as practitioners, that's kind of how we're wired. We just want to help as many people as possible. You can't serve everyone effectively. You really need to serve a pretty tight group of people. And so you and your team do spend a good amount of time, like right from the beginning, in this pillar with your clients, correct?
Niching is essential. We have to understand who, not only who, and there's a lot of different ways to niche. We could do a whole series on that particular thing. But yes, you need to be specific who you're speaking to. If you're speaking to everybody, nobody's going to hear you. You're not going to stand out in the crowd whatsoever. And so having that clear niche, and understanding the psychographics of your niche, not just the demographics of your niche. So psychographics are going to be those the emotional pieces to that audience. Why? So if somebody, say your audience is women with diabetes in their 40s, right? That's demographics, but the psychographics might be they don't have enough energy to keep up with their family. It really, really bothers them. They don't know how to care for their health. They're scared for the future. Those are the emotional connections that you need to be able to understand and speak to in your marketing. Those are the things that you want to put right there on your website, so that they, when they get there, they look at it and they say, this is for me. This person gets me. This practitioner understands me.
Exactly.
And it starts that emotional connection.
And for those of you who are Living Plate RX Prime members, if you haven't already, I strongly encourage you to go into the Nutrition Content Creation Academy. You have access to that. And Stephanie, in the very first module, we cover this quite a bit, right? How do you identify your ideal customer avatar? And it is demographics and psychographics. For me, psychographics really means diving into health behavior change. Like what are they struggling with? What are they struggling with? What kind of emotions does that bring up for your clients? And there is an exercise in your brand board workbook that takes you through that. So, obviously you can bring Stephanie's team on to help guide you through all of this. But if you wanted to get started by yourself, you absolutely can do that. And actually, if you ultimately decide to work with Stephanie and your team and her team, it puts you way ahead, because you already have a clear idea of who your consumer is, what their pain points and their emotions are surrounding their, their issue of concern.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that make sense, Stephanie? Sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's important work to do no matter which way you go about it,
Yes.
what tools you use. It's important information to think about. When we're in our projects, almost half the project is strategy and figuring out the important aspects. And then the rest of it falls together really, really quickly. And I like to say it's hard to read the label from inside the bottle. And that's when to bring somebody like myself in or leverage other people to help you, because you are in the trenches with your clients. And sometimes it's really hard to get out of, and you'll see this on the next slide, there's some of those rational explanations, and getting into that emotional connection and having that outside point of view can be really helpful.
All right, let's talk more then about business objectives.
Yeah. So, well, on the other side of it, I'm going to skip over to competitive landscape really quickly. So
Sure.
Competitive landscape is kind of, it's your where. It's not just your physical location. It's more about who else is solving that same problem for those consumers, and what are they saying and how do they approach it? That's really important. So a lot of practitioners come to us and they're saying, well, there's no other nutritionists or dietitians or chiropractors in my area or whatever it is. And it's not about that. It could be any number of competitors out there, just anybody who is solving that same problem for that consumer. You want to understand how they're doing it, how they're speaking to that consumer, and why you're different and unique. So understanding why your background comes into it. So your passion also comes into this piece. That's why both of them connect with that business. So your business objectives, yes, it's pricing, it's packaging, it's business strategy and things like that. But I like to think of this particular, when you're thinking about relevancy and differentiation, it's really about your why and your passion. And that can be your big differentiator in your market, especially with solo practitioners. Solo practitioners have a big advantage of being able to work one-on-one with people, be the hands-on person with them. And that can be a big differentiation. People like that personal touch. They really want somebody that they can trust and reach out to and know that they have somebody to guide them. And so differentiation is an interesting thing. It's also about honesty in your marketing. So differentiation can attract people to you. It can actually push the wrong people away from you. And that's what you want. This is where it can shorten your sales cycle quite a bit. You don't want to be spending your time on the phone with wrong fit leads. And so being honest and saying, hey, I help these people, or I help this person. If you're looking for this, I might not be for you. And that's good. You know what? That actually builds trust. People might be scared to do that in their marketing, to actually say, I'm not, but that actually builds trust with your right clients. That will attract, so it would be like, oh my gosh, they are actually willing to say, that's not the right fit for me.
It can also support you with charging more for your, right? The more different you are, the higher the more you can charge for your packages, right? Absolutely. The more value is perceived, the more you can differentiate yourself. Like if you are only going to be serving people who are serious about, X, Y, Z, and you have somebody on the phone who's like, yes, I'm serious, versus somebody who's saying, well, my doctor told me to reach out to you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then perhaps, and I actually, Stephanie, did this a lot in my practice. I'm not your person. I would love to help you, but unless you're willing to commit and actually make the food in your home kitchen and the whole culinary experience for me, that was how I initially differentiated myself from my competition, was that I incorporated culinary experience. So if you weren't willing to improve your culinary confidence, or you weren't willing to make a few recipes every week, we're not going to be a good match, right? And so you do want the people who are going to show up. It also makes your job just a lot more pleasant, right? Absolutely. You don't want to be serving people. You can be a rock
star with the people who are really committed.
Exactly. And those who aren't committed, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time motivating people. You really want to support people with action. And that does reflect health behavior change theory, as all of this reflects health behavior change theory as well, where you can't speak to everybody. You got to speak to a certain group, and you have to take that certain group on a journey. Stephanie was really referring to a sales funnel, where you bring somebody in and you shorten that sales cycle to the point where they're engaging with you and taking action. But you also need to make clear how you're different from everybody else in the landscape. So the competitive landscape, how do you do that assessment? You know, where
Yeah,
could a
well,
practitioner start?
throw it up to the Google is one good first start.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
just find out who's out there. Speaking to your ideal clients, I'm a big fan of customer development interviews, not for sales purposes. Get on the phone with people, say, how would you solve this problem if otherwise? And so, yeah, digging into those and creating a spreadsheet that says, hey, this is the company, this is their tagline, this is their marketing approaches. You know, and so we actually catalog all of that out, the competitive, so that you're understanding, okay, well, this is what they are all doing, and this is how I'm going to do it. And make sure that you're differentiated and you don't sound the same. If you sound the same, there's no reason why you're going to have to work harder to get them to pick you than to pick them. And the other thing with differentiation here, and I love what Jeannie was saying, is that if you're going after a certain demographic and you're really sticking to that, you can demand a higher price because you want to they're committed. You're getting that committed person to the solution, right? And so differentiation in that way and being unique, a unique solution or a unique approach for a specific audience demands a higher price because there is no duplicating you.
Correct.
No.
Somebody is asking a question. Okay. Where was the brand board workbook again? Oh, that's a great question. That is in, Jane is asking that question. That is in the Nutrition Content Creation Academy. Once you sign up for that, and it's free for Living Play RX Prime members, it's in module number 1. It's actually the very, very first thing that you do. So a lot of this will make sense there. We have another question from Sonia. I'm finally in thinking frame, Jeannie. I have a few clients that I really couldn't help further because of lack of commitment. This is great reinforcement that it's not me or my delivery. It's a client fit that matters. Mm-hmm. Do you have something to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So building trust, that's a big part of building trust. That's the part you can control. If they're the wrong fit, they're the wrong fit. And you can identify that, right? And look at those clients that were the wrong fit and go back and say, what did that sales process look like? What did they read before they got on the phone with me? What did that conversation look like? And what were those red flags? How can I avoid that in the future? And then incorporate those things into your process. The other thing is, though, too, is if you're not getting if clients don't have enough skin in the game, your prices might be too low. Think about increasing your prices, because if your price is high enough, they are making a bigger commitment and they have more skin in the game, just simply as a commitment.
And what if you had, I mean, how do you feel about different levels of buy-in from consumers? Right. So in Sonia's case, where she had, you know, she wants a certain level of client. And I think what she was saying is that sometimes she gets a different level of commitment from clients. Is there a case to be made for creating several packages that reflect different levels of commitment, but not the same outcome, obviously? I mean, if somebody can spend $37 for a monthly meal plan and get the same outcome as a $275 monthly package,
yes,
that doesn't make sense. But how would you feel about, because that's what has me thinking for Sonia a little bit, like if you had a lower level offering for somebody that doesn't require a lot of your time, that can satisfy them. What are your thoughts on that, Stephanie?
Yeah, I don't think that, I think that's a good idea. You know, like if you think of the traditional package structure of three different packages, the pricing structure can actually push people towards or away from certain ones. And that's a little bit more complicated than this conversation, but the having different package structures with different outcomes, and I have an example that I'll be able to show you here today.
Excellent.
Is the perfect way to approach it, because they should have a disparate expectation of what they're getting based on what they're committing to. Okay. And they should know that, I wish I could, I'll show you this example here in just a little bit, Sonia. Okay. I think it'll be really helpful for you to kind of see how that might, how that structure can help your clients understand where they fit, to self-identify that or for you to help get them plugged in the right spot and the right commitment level.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
But it should never be based on just because they don't want to invest that much, because then they don't have enough skin in the game anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to hold on the examples and I'm just going to go through the next slide quick and we'll come back to this.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So we're going to talk about building trust here. So obviously everything we do, we want to be consumer centric. It's really a lot of clinicians, when they come into us, They have a website that's really compelling rationally very well. It's explaining what they do, their background, their expertise really well. And it, obviously says, maybe for gut or has some specific stuff in there. And it compels rationally really well. You guys are all really good at explaining.
I'm smiling because literally that is the bucket where we're all really comfortable. Like the emotional part, probably not so much, but we're rational, scientific, practitioners. So, it makes sense to, follow this protocol and follow this nutrition science. It just makes sense. Yeah. But what you're saying is that is not how jamming the rationale down somebody's throat with copy or with other content is not always the best solution.
Yeah, exactly. The important part, and because it's challenging to us, spend more time on the connecting emotionally. So having those pain points, understanding the true psychographics of your client and connecting where they're at with those pain points. And your passion for solving those pain points needs to come out clearly. So that's content. Content's not the only thing. Cohesiveness in design is extremely important in connecting emotionally and building trust. So you might have had an experience at some point where you're online and you're on the website and you sign up for something, and then all of a sudden you get an email that looks different. The website was red and the email is blue, and you're like, wait, was this the same company? You kind of have to look into it. Right there, you're chipping away at trust. So that consistency in your design and your visuals is important. Consistency in font and style and usage is important. We talk about that in terms of brand a lot, but we don't always talk about how important that is to building the trust. The other piece to building trust online is the technology and automation and having that experience work correctly for them. You don't want at any part in the process for it to be, obviously broken. You don't want it to be broken, but you don't want it to do or say anything that's contrary to what they're expecting.
Oneli Hernandez is saying people buy based on emotions.
They do.
Yes. And, I think by and large, we all know that, but how do you connect emotionally? I have my feelings about that. I'm a big believer. For me anyway, if I can't look somebody in the eyes at some point in my journey with them, I'm not going to trust them. I'm not, yes, they have to have consistent branding. Their website has to be consistent with, and that actually happens a lot, Stephanie, where, professionals or institutions will reach out saying, I want to partner with you. And then I go to the website and like, oh, it's not consistent with what you were telling me. So that does chisel away at the trust. But then also, getting on a Zoom call, looking somebody, in the eyes, or obviously doing videos, right? I mean, how do you feel about videos? Do you put videos on websites? Do you encourage your clients? Okay.
All the time. If you're able to produce video content, that's a great way to get personality across. That was the next thing I was going to say. With connecting emotionally, you need to have the personality come through. So we actually go through an exercise during our branding process to set up an avatar or to select that personality type and what aspects are in that personality, so it can come out in the content in fun ways and appropriate ways. So a lot of times when you think about brand personality, you think about like the really bold ones, or swearing, or some of these a little bit more extreme tactics that scream personality, but we're like, oh, I don't know if I want that, what I mean?
Right.
So trying to find those appropriate ways and being intentional about it. Have your 3 words that describe what the personality of your brand is, and be able to look at your content and say, is that expressing peppiness or helpfulness, or whatever that emotion that you want to invoke from
are you a funny person? For example, we do talk about this a little bit in the Content Creation Academy about your brand voice, which is what I'm hearing you talk about here.
Yes,
right? Like your brand looks a certain way, but how does your brand behave when you're not in the picture?
Yeah.
Right. What does your brand have a sense of humor? But mine does, for sure, just because that's who I am. Right. So if we were to sit down on a session, and we actually are going to be working together, that's what you and your team are going to learn about me. Right. I like to have fun. I like to keep it light, but I'm also very serious and nurturing as well. And I think, I mean, does that reflect brand values too a little bit?
Yes.
Like a lot,
yeah,
right? Like
company values, all the things that need to filter into that voice and come out really clearly. It's personality. And remember too that the visuals and the voice need to make sense together. You can't have a very serious, so you don't want to be in a picture in a lab coat on your looking kind of stiff, and then all of a sudden there's like some really spunky language next to it. People will be like, what's going on here? You don't want to give that. You don't ever want them to be like, oh wait, what? You know what I mean?
That kind of example. Such a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where having somebody help you from outside the box, because if you're doing things on your own, you get entrenched in looking at it, and you look at it and you look at it,
and you actually don't see it.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Have other people look at your brand and help give that feedback for you in this way. So
Perfect.
This is where all of the pieces kind of come together. Your visual, your content, and your technology all need to work together to continue to build that trust until they get on the phone with you, when you can take that trust to the next level and get them committed, right?
Excellent.
And then I'll show you these examples here in a second. I just want to go through this, elevating your offering really quickly. So the third thing to the trust is elevating your offering. So now you could have a really great brand. You can have a really great fun voice. And then all of a sudden you present everything based on your hourly rate. No,
that's in the basement.
All of a sudden makes them feel like, wait, hold on. I really want to be guided. I want a solution, right? So follow it through with getting your and with our clients that we work with, we always want to get them to that potential aspirational benefit. That's a life change. So a potential aspirational benefit means that you are selling on value, and selling on value means that you're talking about longevity. What is that outcome? What is the outcome to your product? So yes, you might have a package and you have different ways to engage, but they should always go back to solutions. So like what Sonia was saying earlier we were talking about earlier with the different package levels, different outcomes for different levels. And that's where I want to show you for Sonia's benefit, for sure. I'm just going to exit out of this really quick, and I'm going to bring up this site because I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry for going off track here, but
this is great. This is awesome. A little bit bigger. Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
Okay. So Kim Braley came to us, and she had a website. She had a website done, but it had lemons on there and fruit and vegetables and all that kind of stuff. Which isn't bad, but she gives some pretty intense work for IBD clients, primarily pediatric, right? And I want to talk about her services and her approach. So one we went through and we talked about her proven process, which is the 3D dietary approach here. But this is where her packages, and this is for Sonia's benefit right here. So this is a really great, notice no prices, but we're talking about 3 different packages. So 1 is about reversal, 2 is about rebuilding, and 3 is about resolution, right? So those are 3 very different packages with very different outcomes. And when you talk to somebody, what are they going to want? They're going to want resolution. They're going to want to commit, and they're going to wonder, even before getting on the phone with her, how do I get to that? What does that look like to work with you? They're already almost going to be sold on the bigger package, because yes, people want reversal. And if that's what they're willing to invest in, they know what they're investing in. Does that make sense?
It totally does. And I love that she put upgrade packages at any time, because, if I'm someone who is touched by IBD or my child, right, and I'm responsible for supporting my child, I want all of those. But maybe right now I'm only ready for the 3-month.
Yeah.
Right. And then we can do the rebuild and the resolution after that. So exactly. I actually am not put in a position where I have to decide like all or nothing right now. I could actually start with a 3-month and then move on to a 6-month or 12-month. And that's, that builds trust, because for me, that says Kim is very confident in her ability to get people through these different phases.
Yeah.
So there's no risk in saying start here and then you can upgrade at any time.
Exactly.
I really, really like that. And so at what point do the consumers know how much this is going to cost them?
Yeah. So Kim's process is that they get on a call with her, and she has she has a 20-minute consultation. We've actually built her a full sales deck that she goes through and guides them. And so she starts off with discovery questions with their client. Or her potential client, and then she guides them through and helps identify what the best approach for them based on what their situation is,
and their level of commitment.
And their level of commitment. And I'm not going to reveal her prices, but these are pretty hefty packages. These are big commitments for the families. They are looking to resolve it. And the other thing that backs her up, I wanted to just show you her. So going back to that slide of having your different benefits to your package, one thing, we deemed her 3D dietary approach. So she has an approach that she is giving. No matter what package you get, you're going to have a she has an approach that she's taking. No matter what package, it's just amount to what extent are they able to work together and to resolve. Right.
Yeah.
So those two things work together, the proper positioning of her product and saying, okay, what are we promising, along with the right kind of packaging.
I love this framework so much.
Yeah.
I think this really, for those of you who are on with us right now, can you just raise your hand or just type in helpful by seeing this example? Because it illustrates everything that you've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yes,
this is exactly it. Done full, right.
I mean, it's the culmination of the work that you did with Kim, right?
Yes,
that led to this. So really amazing. Oh, Carrie is saying she has to hop off, but Carrie, this recording will be on the Facebook page. So make sure you join us over there. But yeah, this is an excellent example of everything that you've talked about so far. And I really like this framework, and having this framework applied to all of the packages that she's offering. All right, share your full slides now so that we can see
I'll go through a couple of other examples, because I know that you guys, it's helpful for you guys to see visuals, and I put the website addresses down on the bottom so you can go check them out in their full glory. But just to give a quick example here, this is MNC Nutrition. When she came to us, this was her website, and a lot of practitioners, when they come to us, very similar.
I was going to say, I was going to say.
And then you have the "Let the food be thy medicine" quote, or some kind of quote up there, right? And that's very good rational
Makes
information,
sense, right?
What we want to do is connect emotionally. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that we had to overcome is MNC is her personal initials, and now she had practitioners underneath her. So how are we going to tackle that when MNC is on the insurance listings and people know MNC and things like that? So what we did was we made a new acronym: Medical Nutrition Counseling for Eating Disorders. We made her name make sense, put that up on top.
Okay.
Then looking at the emotional connection, she has it's in a college town, but she's a very diverse population that she's working with. And so people wanting a unique approach for them that is understands them specifically. So freedom to do you without eating.
I was just going to say, do you guys see, and I see you guys, the people who are joining us right now, do you see the genius in that? Freedom, you without the eating disorder, but the do you is highlighted, right? So, you do you, that already says to me that, what population is she speaking to? It's right. It's a younger demographic for sure. Yeah.
Right. And what she was struggling with is just really, when people came to her, they didn't understand how extremely unique they were. They didn't understand their approach. So we went and explained their approach. So check out that website. It explains their approach really well. It funnels clients really well. Explains what they do, all of that. So that's one example. Here's another example of Angela. This is a good niching example. I'll give you some courage for niching. So when Angela came to us, she was part-time. She had she was working full-time at a clinic. And she had this website that she had put together, and she put weight loss on there because she's just like, well, that's what I think everybody's looking for. That's what I think everybody, but when we dug into it with her, she was passionate about diabetes. And it was like, I could be a rock star with people with diabetes. I'm just scared to actually double down on that niche and do it. And so well, you're going to do it right. Right.
Yep,
So
yep.
what we did was deem her the diabetes nutrition expert, because she really is. Right. She really is. Outsmart your diabetes. She has an archetype of a warrior. And so she will be a warrior for her client, and you will notice that language on her website. So go to Outsmart Your Diabetes. You can check her out, and how that warrior language comes through. It has a little bit tongue in cheek on there, tastefully. But she doubled down. She was able to quit her job within a year after making sure that she niched. She spoke to one audience, and now she's working on going 100% passive income, which we're very excited to help her with. So that's Angela. Here's a example, Coach Chris. She wanted this is one that maybe we want to look at the packages, because she wanted to work with. So she has a full-time job. She never intends on giving up, which is fine. She loves her job. Great. But she loves to work with runners, and she needed to get make her sales cycle really short. So we had to be very clear on her website. And she was a regular guest on a popular running podcast. And so we knew that there was going to be traffic going in here. She only has time for a 15-minute discovery call. So we had to make that really short, really clear. And then her packages, if you go to Runner's Life Nutrition, you'll see she has 3 solutions. Maybe I'll just bring that up real quick.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. I know that people who are watching are appreciating all of this, all of these examples. Really great.
So for Runner's Life, there we go. So we talk about the approach and what she's talking about.
Again, another framework.
Yep, another framework. Right, exactly. Yep, we always identify what is that approach. That's part of niching. And then how it works, how do we get engaged? Always be really clear. How do I get engaged with you? If they want that answer, be really clear about it. And then as far as her packages go, very similar approach, not exactly the same, but we are solving a different issue with each one. So Achieve is a 3-month package, and you don't always even have to have the time length on there, but when I think it's helpful. But for the Achieve package, this is somebody just trying to do like a very specific, like maybe trying to do a 5K or something like that. Success package is focused a little bit more on maybe overcoming an injury or going for a little harder challenge. And then fundamentals, that's a little bit more like couched marathon type, like, hey, how far can I actually go? And so you can kind of position your packages in any way that you're wanting. You just got to think of what are the different outcomes that people could expect with actually working with me in this capacity. What does that mean? Right. And it could be 2 packages. There's the other approach that's pretty common. Let me bring up this one. I think that's a good, some of you guys might be struggling to foresee how, or you're just starting out and not knowing exactly how to position. Now this one, list price, which I don't always recommend, kind of depends. We start off with a little information, but I just love how this layout goes. So we have this is how you get engaged, but you start with a jump start. You start with a 1 entry point product, right? 1 way to sign up. That's an okay way to start, especially if you're trying to, Esther was just asking at which point are the prices seen. Typically on your free consult, that's when you're talking to them about their needs a little bit and then going right into your processes and then talk about pricing. So you want to guide them to the right solution. I don't always, she lists her prices on here because she just wants people to sign up and she has enough traction to be able to do that. But if you're just starting off and you're not sure how to structure your packages, but you need an easy way for people to get started, start with get started here, sign up here. And this is what's included in my beginning package. And then from there, you can split them off into other ones and you can learn from your audience and expand it out. So that's another way to list your it's not necessarily a package. It's just kind of a getting started package.
Right.
So that's that one. Let me bring up, this is another good one. So Alicia Galvin, another one, fruits and vegetables up top with the quote, very common. when Alicia came to us, her services page had, it had the one-on-one grocery tours, meal plans, all the things that she was thinking, well, this is what people are asking for. But when we dug into it with Alicia, we realized, holy buckets, this girl's a genius. She works with really high level, very difficult cases, and she really wanted to focus on that. So we said, well, let's position you to be able to focus on that. So when we created our website, it has a little bit more of a science focus. That's not the approach we take with everybody, but we could take it with Alicia because she wanted to work with people who had exhausted their options.
She is a clinical dietitian.
She's a clinical dietitian, yes. But she went to work with people who had exhausted their options. So they already kind of know the terminology and the science and all that. So this is a text heavy website, testimonial heavy website. But she is hard to get an appointment with. No, which is terrific. And when she came to us, she was just quitting her job. So, the evolution of this and her doubling down and putting a stake in the ground as far as this is my position in the market. This is so her niche, she can solve a lot of problems, right? She knows a lot, but her niche is kind of being able to solve the problems that other options haven't been able to solve for them. That's a niche that it's very specific, and you have to be careful about how you're positioning there, but that is a niche. To be able to take on difficult
functional nutrition, like really getting into functional nutrition. Yeah.
That's something we deal with a lot for functional. Yes, you guys can solve so many things. We know that. So, but your approach to things can actually be part of your niche. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be communicated really well, but that is a niche. All right. What's the next? And then Kim Braley, I already kind of went through.
Amazing.
So that's one. So, there's so much, but I would love to hear from you guys. What's one thing that you found most helpful, but what's one thing you'd love to dig into more? Because I would love to be able to expand more on any topic, not necessarily right this second, but prepare for another time. So
those of you who are on with us, drop in comments, what would you like Stephanie and her marketing team to chat about with us the next time that we're together? To reach out to Stephanie, you can go to stringmarketing.com/discovered. Is that a discovery call, Stephanie? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I just, while everybody is thinking about what they want you to cover next time, I would love you next time to cover, is your brand being human enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we did touch on that just a little bit today, but you had a whole portion of the slide deck that you and I talked about today was on, bringing the human into the brand. And that's pretty cool. I really like that. Sandy is saying, clarifying your messaging. She would like to cover that.
Absolutely, Sandy.
Michelle is saying how to differentiate groups versus one-on-one packages simply. I think you touched on that a little bit today, but is that something you could take a deeper dive into?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We have a lot of examples of that.
Very cool. Let me just see what else here. The psychology aspect of marketing. Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that's a big topic, especially in this area. Healthcare is an interesting area. There's a lot of marketers that don't want to touch it. The psychology here, not just the psychology, but the rules and everything else is a unique area.
Yeah, and I would love to have that conversation with Stephanie and the community, because a lot of the marketing psychology can be laid on top of health behavior theory, which is, we're evidence-based practitioners, and you actually can apply health behavior theory, research to truly everything you do, obviously to your practice, but in your marketing, in your social media, there's actually a way to apply health behavior theory to all of that. So I love that, Stephanie. That would be a really good one to dive into, the psychology of it all. And then someone else is saying email marketing, that they struggle with that, still paying for MailChimp and don't have a newsletter. Yeah. I mean, that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Email marketing is overwhelming. So we're going to take all of these notes and we're going to come back to you guys with a schedule, maybe covering all these topics. I think
absolutely. And maybe I'll bring some experts from my team around.
Oh, that would, super fun. We can have a conversation with multiple people. Somebody else is saying pop-up timing on websites, lead magnets. email capture strategy. So a little bit more nuts and bolts of marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love, yeah, that's my world, is a little bit more tactical nuts and bolts. So yeah, I would love to talk about those items. Thank you.
So this is what so Stephanie, as again, for those of you who are Living ClitRx Prime members, you know that Stephanie and her team, we partner with them on a deeper level to support our existing members in their, really with everything, like with marketing, getting their courses up in their EHRs and refreshing their websites. And so, Stephanie has developed trust with me very early on. We've known each other for more than a year. Yeah. But most recently decided to engage on a deeper level because Stephanie and her team deliver, right? So it's not just about strategy. Strategy is important. That's where you have to start.
We need a foundation.
It's not just marketing. You could have the best marketing team in place, but if you don't have a solid foundation, strategy foundation, and then of course the content, which is like I'm the content person, you need all of that. Right? Yeah. And that's why partnering with you and your team, Stephanie, makes so much sense. So if you are watching this as a recording, you can continue to answer questions. You can tag Stephanie, you can tag me, and we will answer those for you. So we are going to continue on with our Q&A office hour call. Stephanie, you can either hang out or you can get back to work with your clients. And I'm going to start covering some frequently asked questions that our members have had over the past few weeks.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. I appreciate it. I'm gonna hop off and watch from Facebook, but you guys throw questions up and I'll be there watching.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Bye. All right. So that was great. Chock full. I knew that Stephanie would deliver. She always does. So for those of you who want to reach out to Stephanie, again, you can just go to stringmarketing.com. There's information there on how to get your EHR, your courses, your Living ClitRx courses into your EHRs as well. Stephanie is helping us with that in addition to branding those courses for you. So stringmarketing.com. Okay. So let's go ahead and move forward with some Q&As. As most of you already know, we are conducting now twice. It looks like it's going to be twice per month for now. We might need to do more. But twice per month, Karen Reiser is going to be hosting coaching calls, group coaching calls. Now, these aren't business coaching calls, but a lot of the conversation that happens in these coaching calls, it is about scaling your practice and good business practices. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, to sign up for those. We've sent out, the second we sent out an email, these spaces filled up. So I would say keep your eyes open, be active in the Facebook group. Scale your nutrition practice. We do put up alerts when we open up a new group coaching call. And the group coaching calls are a little bit different than what you're experiencing here because they're interactive. We only have 10 seats and everybody gets to talk to everybody, right? And we can share screens, and it's really just a little bit of a deeper dive into strategy and how you can leverage all of the resources that you have access to. So the next series of questions that I'm going to be answering for you today reflect the first two coaching calls. So these were things that kept coming up for people. So if you're on with me now and you have some questions, feel free to drop them in here. But I'm just going to go through the FAQs right now. One of the questions that we get most frequently from new members, but also from members who have either been with us for a while and just haven't leveraged the resources as much as they've wanted to. The question is like, where do I start? There are so many materials and you can't implement all of them all at one time, right? You can implement the meal plans really, really easily, but taking advantage of all the meal plan functionality and all of the content all at once is just overwhelming. And some people have felt defeated because there's just too much. So start somewhere, really anywhere. I would say where your greatest pain point has been with content. Let's just talk about content, for example. Maybe you haven't had an opt-in yet. So decide based on your ideal consumer and how you want to get people, how you want to attract new consumers, what would be a great opt-in for that, and just focus on that. That would be a great place to start, just like one piece of content. I would also say, if you haven't done it already, and there was some questions earlier on about Nutrition Content Creation Academy, that is truly the first place that you should start. Everyone in our membership should go through Nutrition Content Creation Academy. You can binge it if you want, go through it all at once. I don't recommend that because there's a lot of how-to instruction, and I want you to actually turn and implement it. through each one of the modules. But the Nutrition Content Creation Academy is robust, and it provides a lot of how-tos. How do I edit and brand the ebook? How do I organize all of this content that I have access to? How do I early on? How do I define my ideal customer avatar? So we cover a lot, how to create a social media calendar. You can just go in and pick and choose kind of where you want to start, but it's all there. Most of the questions that we get on a regular basis, we compiled those and poured them into the Academy. So most questions are answered inside of the Academy. For the meal planner, that's in the masterclass. I am actually updating the masterclass. So we've deployed a lot of new functionalities like the non-calendar meal plan. I'm going to be updating the masterclass to make sure that there are videos for every function inside of the meal planner. So if you're wondering how you can make the most out of your meal planner, go to the masterclass, and for the content, go to Nutrition Content Creation Academy. It is in your library. So when you go into your library, just search Academy, and that will come up and you'll get immediate access to that. Sonia is saying, can we only attend Karen's calls once per month? Yes. So for now, until we have more calls, Sonia, only because we want to give people, enough unique people options to get a seat in the classroom. But Karen and I, Sonia, are here to continue to support you inside the Facebook group and on our Q&A calls like we're doing right now. So please feel free to reach out. Okay, actually, let's just start here. People have a lot of questions about best practices with the signature meal plan. So I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. Okay, and we'll just talk a little bit about what the signature meal plan is. The signature meal plan is in your Prime tab. So you just click on the Prime tab here, and it will open up your signature meal plans. Signature meal plans should not be created for individual consumers. A signature meal plan is a plan that you create. You can either create this plan from scratch using our database, and it's really easy to do that. You would just click Create New Plan, and then you can pick a meal plan as your base. So Flex is going to be, you're seeing a lot of things here because this is a demo, but Flex would be like a Mediterranean meal plan. It's an all-inclusive database, and you can curate it from scratch, or you can use the pre-populated template for the Flex plan here. This, again, is intended to serve multiple clients. You do not want to create signature plans for individual clients. That will get out of hand very, very quickly. If you want to create a meal plan specific to a client's needs, what you want to do is start with a signature plan or one of the base plans that most closely aligns with the outcome, the protocol that the client should follow to get the outcome that they desire. So if they're just looking to improve their health with food and cook more for their family, the Flex plan is ideal. That would be great. And you create that plan here. You can name it whatever you want. It should reflect one of your packages or your offerings. Ideally, your brand should be in here. Like Stephanie and I spoke about, you can share your brand voice in the welcome email, which you should do. So all of this can be edited. Also, the landing page can be edited if you're going to be using that. So again, best practices, signature planner is for scaling different protocols that you have in place for multiple clients. If you're going to create an individual client meal plan, you want to do that at this level. So you would just click New Client, and you can select either one of our templates or your signature plan. Anytime you create a signature meal plan, it will populate as an option in your meal plan dropdown. So they're all going to be here. Sandy is asking, how do you change the link in that email in the meal plan that goes out to the client? Are you talking about the link? Let me just go back here. Are you talking about the link to the video? Let me know, because that's the only link that is in that meal plan. It goes to a quick start video for using your meal planner. Let's go ahead and take a look at that here, Sandy, for you. So you're talking about this video here? Because if you are, you just click on it and then you can edit the link and you can add your own link. So yes, you can add your own link to a video. You can do your own video tutorial on how to use your meal plan. That would be awesome. That would be terrific. Sandy is saying there are 2 links and it goes to the YouTube version. So it should be going to Vimeo. Maybe this, yeah, it's a Vimeo. So we don't use YouTube anymore. If you are going to be using your own video in this welcome email, or really any video unique to your practice in your packages, we don't recommend that you use YouTube, because YouTube will quickly figure out that you're in the health and wellness space and start showing ads to your patients and clients that you don't want them to see. So Vimeo is always a really great bet because it's ad-free. So you would just change that link here, Sandy. Okay, so I think that was good. Okay, terrific. Felicia's saying, I think once the search features work next year on the new platform, it will help so much. Yes, so Felicia's talking about the search features for content. Yes, we are definitely working on improving that. All right, so that is best practices for using the signature meal plans. Definitely, you want to use signature meal plans for broadcasting, not individual clients. Individual clients, you want to work on the client level. So creating recipe packs. So let's go ahead and we'll just show this here now too. Creating recipe packs, there are a lot of different things that you can do. First of all, we do have recipe packs inside of your library. So you can go into the library and create a recipe pack, or utilize one of the recipe packs that we have, and you can edit them. That's a little bit more manual. But if you wanted to just like automate a recipe pack, you can do that in a signature planner. So let me just go into, let's just see here. We'll just go into this plan here and I can manipulate this. So you create a signature plan and you can delete, you can delete the recipes. So let's just say, let me just go ahead and I'm going to delete all of these recipes. Whoops. Well, not all of them. Maybe I'll keep a few on, right? So I want to create a recipe pack for my clients that include, maybe a few breakfasts, a few dinners, something simple. Let's just delete these here, right? So this is doable. If you're going to create a recipe pack, my recommendation to you is don't do any more than like 10 or 15. That's a lot. If somebody wants access to more recipes, give them the digital meal planner. So you can just add recipes. So you can either delete all of these or you can just click and drag onto one day. It doesn't matter. Just include the recipes that you want. And then you click on generate a PDF. You don't want to include the calendar. Maybe you want to include the groceries or not, and you don't want to show dates. So really for generating the recipe packs, you want to control what is going to be generated on the PDF. So let's just generate this PDF. Hey, Nicole, welcome. Innie is saying, how do you prevent the auto renewal for a meal plan? Okay, I can show you that, Innie. That's great. All right, so let's download the PDF, and here it is. And you can name this. So now it says a Mediterranean plan, 2,000 calorie. That's because that was the signature plan. But you can have a signature plan titled recipe packs. And you can just use that signature plan, keep it blank, assign the Flex plan database to that because that'll give you access to all recipes without duplication, and name it recipe packs. So you can just do Mediterranean recipe pack, and you can, change that. You can create as many recipe packs as you want. Here's the grocery list, and then here are the recipes. So this is less designed. It's just more functional. It's just a PDF of the recipes. If you wanted something more designed, then definitely dive into the recipe packs inside of your library. All right, so Innie is asking, how do you prevent an auto renewal for a meal plan? If somebody signs up for a plan, Innie, it is a monthly subscription. They can cancel that inside of their meal planner. So in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say account. Your clients can cancel at any time. So if your clients are signing up for your meal plans as a monthly subscription, then they end it. They just go into their account and they end their subscription. They can end it anytime. Until they end it, it will be recurring. You'll actually see that. Now, if you are issuing the meal plan, and let's say you're issuing a client 3 months for free, they're not automatically going to be charged anything, but they will be prompted to subscribe unless you turn off that email notice. So you will find that email notice here in subscription settings. And that is here, renewal emails. So you can see mine is turned off. So if you issue a client a meal plan for, let's say, 3 months, or you're running a program and you create a coupon, which you can create a coupon code here for 3 months free, your clients are not going to be prompted to enter their credit card information. But unless this renewal email is turned off, they will receive an email notification from you saying, oh, I hope you enjoyed your meal plan. You can subscribe here. And then, of course, you can determine what the price is for that. So that is here, Indy. Did that answer your question? Esther is saying, can I include my logo on the recipe pack? That's a great question, Esther, and it's automatic. So the recipe pack will be, you can see it says Living Plate RX because I'm in the demo account, but it'll have your logo on it. So, and additionally, you can include, I suppressed it, but you can include like an introduction page that has information about you that is inside of your signature planner. I hope this is helpful. I'm going to take the time to show you this. You just go into configure, and at the bottom, you will see your PDF settings intro page. So you can actually just create an introductory page. So information about you and your practice. You can add in a profile photo here as well. I think you can see here. Quick insert. Yes, you can insert a video, which would be really cool. Actually, I want to experiment with that. That would be super cool. But anyhow, you could do an image, insert your image there, and then content about yourself. I strongly recommend that you do that if you're going to create recipe packs or PDF meal plans. I hope that was helpful. Okay, terrific. Esther is also asking about carrots. Great question, Esther. They're going away, so don't worry about it. Carrots were initially established because we had clinical institutions who bulk purchased carrots. They didn't want a membership. They just wanted to purchase like 1,000 months of a meal plan to issue them. But we have now changed our licensing agreements. And so the carrots are really no longer relevant. So you can ignore the carrots. You can ignore the emails. As a Living Plate RX Prime member, you have unlimited meal plans that you can issue. So don't worry about the number of carrots being shown there. And he's saying, how do we add dressing to a recipe, much like it's done on the kale and quinoa salad? So you would add an element. So if you're entering the recipe yourself, Innie, let's just go into my recipes here. If I wanted to add a recipe, you will see, I'm just going to add an ingredient here because it's not going to pop. It won't give me another element unless I add something here. So let me just add this. See, add a carrot. By the way, guys, if you ever look at all the results that the USDA database has, it's so funny. Okay, so let's just say one medium carrot chopped. Okay, so I can list my ingredients for a salad, and then down here, you add another element. So once you add this other element, you can add dressing. And then you will see up here, this populates. So you can have salad up here and dressing. So the first element actually doesn't show until you add the second element. So hope oh wait, I'm not showing my screen. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, let's just go back in here again to show you. If you're doing like a salad with dressing, you would type in just one ingredient first and then scroll down a little bit and you'll see add another element. You click on that and then you can add the title of another element. So just recognize that I got it, Alif. I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen. So we're here now. I don't recommend that you add too many elements. You can, because you can stack recipes inside of the meal planner, but it does make sense, obviously, to include a dressing, as part of like a salad, for example. So you type in one ingredient first, and then when you scroll down, you just click add another element. Okay, so let's cover now best practices with the bundle function. All right, let me share my screen one more time here. Let's go back to our dashboard. Now, bundling used to actually represent something else than it does now. Bundling now, because you have unlimited amount of meal plans that you can issue to clients, bundling now simply means if you have a group of people going through a program, rather than going into the client tab and clicking new client, new client, new client, new client, if they're all getting the same meal plan, you can just create a bundle. Doesn't cost you anything. It's just like an added functionality. You just click create a bundle and you can add a number of clients to a bundle. You can determine how long it is, when it starts, and then you can issue one meal plan to like 10 people. That is the best practices for the bundle function. But if you are just like including meal plans into a package for an individual client, then I recommend that you just use add the new client button here inside of the client tab. Okay. Okay, Sandy is saying, yes, I need to understand building with a group. Yep. So you just use the bundle function and then you can issue a group of people. You know, if you're doing an employee wellness program and you have 30 people going through the program, you can just issue it all at one time. It just makes a lot more sense and just improves your workflow a little bit. Okay, next, multi-use scenarios for content. This was great. I mean, you, when describing to people kind of what I do and what my role is in this community, I take direction from you. Right now, all of the content that we are creating is dictated by the community, by what you are telling me that you want. And this is one thing that you have been asking me for. So I'm going to be providing that. It's going to be really probably going to be a guide to multi-use scenarios for content. And this came up because I recommended, I don't see a lot of people using the single food posts, and they're really, really valuable. So the single food posts are the ones that like highlight pomegranate, green beans, sweet potato. It's just one image in your social media content drop that has content with it. It has a caption, but it's just one image. You could use that post to do a reel and I'm giving you the content. So for example, this month, we are providing you with content on pomegranates, and there is going to be a video on how to remove the arils from a pomegranate. You could create multiple pieces of content from that one single pomegranate post. There's information on the history of pomegranates, obviously the health benefits of pomegranates and how to use them. Like what can adding pomegranate arils do for your dish from a nutrition perspective and then from a culinary perspective. So when you're looking at your content, and I am going to help you with this guide that I'm creating, we should be able to publish that for the December content drop. Take a look at the guide and all of the different uses for the different pieces of content. And hopefully it will support you with, getting content across the finish line, because sometimes it's just hard to think about when you're swimming, in an ocean of content, right? So I'm going to be offering up these individual pieces of content and then all of the things that you can do with them. Blog posts, obviously, are rich with content. It's a blog post. But it could also be like 6 or 7 or 8 different tweets are living in there. Also social media posts living in there, newsletters, email sequences. There's so much content inside of each blog post. And actually inside of the Nutrition Content Creation Academy, we do cover multi-use scenarios for using different pieces of content, blog posts being one of them. So make sure that you check that out in Nutrition Content Creation Academy, but also know that I'm creating this guide for you that will provide you with multi-use scenarios for different pieces of content, because you shouldn't have to be waiting for the monthly content drop to move forward with your social media plan, right? Or for your content delivery plan, because each month probably provides a year's worth of content. Like there's just so much content in each one. So pick and choose the content that's relevant to your ideal customer avatar, solves their pain points, and just go deeper with it. That's all. Alif was saying, I was planning to do one on dates since I always use dates for my shakes. I love that. Alif, I think we do have dates in the content drop. Maybe it's for December, or maybe we've already done it. I'm not sure, but yes, dates, amazing, right? The history of dates, nutrition information on dates, and how, of course, to use them culinary. So I'm always thinking about nutrition and culinary, and like those two pillars. Like, what can I say about this food from a nutrition perspective, and then also from a culinary perspective, and also, that added layer of history or environmental impact. Like if you're writing about or demonstrating lentils, let's just use that for an example. I don't know why I just thought of lentils, maybe because I'm making them for dinner. But you could do a live Instagram or Facebook on different kinds of lentils and not cook anything. You don't even have to cook anything. Get 3 mason jars, have 3 different kinds of lentils, talk about the history of lentils, talk about the environmental impact of consuming lentils as a protein versus animal protein, if that's something your ideal customer wants to know about, and then talk about the nutrition impact and the culinary impact. I mean, that's a great live event. Pomegranates, you could talk about, how to remove the arils, like demonstrating it would be ideal. That would be super fun. And it would probably be something that people will look for. And again, this kind of content supports you in differentiating your brand. So we're just giving you all the content to make it easier for you, right? So all of that helps with differentiating your brand. With dates, you could also talk about the different kinds of dates, things that you have to be aware of with dates, like their sugar content and their pits, I'm thinking of, right? Make sure that you're buying pitted dates so that you remove the dates, maybe soaking the dates to make them softer for using in smoothies. Maybe you want to make a date caramel lift. I think that would be really cool. So many things you can do. So always be thinking about, when you're looking at one piece of content in your content drop, think about how much can I get out of this content? Culinary, nutrition, maybe history, maybe environmental impact, and then obviously demonstration. But for most of these things, you don't even have to do like a cooking demo. If that intimidates you, like just start with showing different, types of foods, like pears. How many different kinds of pears? What are the different kinds? How many things can you do with pears? What is the nutrition impact of pears? You guys know, you get it. You get where I'm going with this, right? So again, multi-use scenarios for individual pieces of content. And if you stop looking at them just as like individual pieces of content and just open up the possibilities for that, you're never going to be at a loss for like what to post or what to go live for. I'm really big on video, so always thinking about how can I go live with this piece of content. Amy is saying, does anyone have an organized way of keeping track of which content you have and haven't used? Amy, if you're talking about social media, so content that you use for clients, the best way to manage that, obviously, is inside of your EHR or whatever system you're using to deliver content to clients. If you are talking about social media, the best way to do that is to use a social media calendar. That really speaks to planning, but then it's also really good for tracking, Amy. And I'm going to give you an example here. Inside of Nutrition Content Creation Academy, there is an entire module on social media, content for social media, and building an evidence-based social media plan. There's actually evidence that, health behavior and evidence that you can apply to building out a social media calendar. I give you the calendar. I literally give you the spreadsheet. So Amy, if you plan, and you don't have to plan out posts for every day, but let's say you commit to posting 3 times a week. You can plan inside of that calendar, but then once you post that content, you take the link from either Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're posting it and put it into the calendar, and then it becomes a tracker. Does that make sense, Amy? So you use your planner also as a tracker for what content I've already used, right? Also, I will say that you should repurpose content. So if you did a post, let's say Alif decides that she is going to do a single food post and kind of content collection around dates. Next year at this time, she can just repurpose it, just use it again. You don't always, and you shouldn't always have to put out unique content. So give yourself some relief, Amy, and know you can repurpose content, because people aren't scrolling that far down on your feed, right? It doesn't, like, I'm sure we're all very interesting people and people want to see, what we posted like 6 months ago, but it's not typical. People don't generally do that. So you can repurpose content, maybe say something a little bit different or not. Like you could just repost. You could repin a post as well. So Instagram and Facebook make it really, really easy to repurpose content that you've already posted. You should absolutely do that and give yourself some relief. Amy, I would suggest like once a week, some of that content is reposted content. So you don't have to do it over again. Doesn't always have to be unique. Okay, so Leaf is saying, I usually mark the content as complete in the live after using or saving it to Canva. You can do that too. You can leave yourself notes inside of Canva. So inside of Nutrition Content Creation Academy, I think it's in module 1, we talk about how to organize your content inside of Canva. Like once you start using, especially the social media content and the videos, how can you organize them in Canva? You can actually either leave yourself a note in Canva or tag yourself. Like there's a little, you can leave a note literally on the post itself and just drop the date for when you used it. So that could be really helpful too. Connie is saying, Connie, you're a master. Yes, Connie says she reposts all the time. Remember, when you put out a post into the world, such a small, like single digit percentage of your population is actually going to see that post. So just let's say you have 1,000 followers and you put out a post. 1,000 followers aren't going to be seeing that post, right? So repost it. So you're making sure that you're consistent with your messaging and you're really drilling it home. And if somebody had seen it before, they'll just keep scrolling. They're not going to be annoyed. But chances are, if you repost that content, different people are going to see it. So for a lot of reasons, you definitely want to repost. Okay, and this is our last topic, and it's a good segue. The conversation that we just had into social media VA support plan. So Connie, thank you so much for your support here. What I did was I reached out to a number of our community members who, in my eyes, were doing it right in terms of taking the existing library content and making it their own. When I saw their posts, I knew that it was content coming from my library, but nobody else would have known. And that's exactly what you want to do. But that can be a barrier for some of you in terms of, taking the time to redesign a post and putting your own brand spin on it and your brand voice. It's hard. And so leveraging virtual assistants is really important. So there are going to be a couple of things that you're going to be able to do. Number one, Stephanie Hofhenke, who is just on with us, it has that built into her offering for her clients. So if you're working with Stephanie and you wanted to add a layer of social media support, leveraging the content in the library, she's going to be providing that support. If you are not a client or not yet a client of String Marketing, then I am going to be supporting you by putting together a list. I'm vetting them right now. So I have hired 4 virtual assistants who are doing work for me now. They are learning how to use Living Plate RX content to create, different looking social media posts. And I'm going to be providing you with that list. So I'm not going to be hiring them. You're actually going to be hiring them, but they will be pre-trained on Living Plate RX. So I think that is going to be the best solution for those of you who have been looking for virtual assistants, especially in the area of social media. So you can look forward to that. I don't really know how long it's going to take. Our first plan didn't quite work out the way that we had wanted it to. We were looking to hire somebody to manage a group of VAs, but it wasn't working out right. It didn't feel right. And this feels right, where we can provide you with virtual assistants that you can interview and see if they're a good fit for you, price-wise, and also their area of expertise. And I will deliver them this list to you with people who have been pre-trained on using Living Plate RX content. So I'm hoping that that's going to be helpful. Okay, Sonia is saying wowzers. Yeah, great, right? That's going to be great. Kathy is saying, oh boy. Yeah, I know a lot of people are waiting, and I'm happy to do this for my community because I know it can be frustrating. You have all this content, you just want to get it out to the world. Okay, so no more questions. We are going to sign off for now. If you are watching this as a recording, you can view the timestamp over at our Facebook group. In our Facebook group, it's called Scale Your Nutrition Practice. So if you're on YouTube or if you're on LinkedIn joining us, head over to Facebook and join our group Scale Your Nutrition Practice. And this video will live there along with the timestamp and all the comments. Of course, tag me if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about, you could also tag Stephanie because she's in the group as well. All right, everybody, have a beautiful week, and I will see you soon. Take care.